Recording in progress. 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 Recording in progress.
Dr. Srilada, are we ready to start?
Yes. Dear friend, welcome to all to the 10th and last day of the international seminar
Dr. Srilada, are we
organized
ready to
by
start?
Dr. Sodh Kumar Library and Research Center, Gramina Padana Kendram, FSCT organizations and other agencies. So I invite our director, Dr. K.T. Srilatha Kumari, for welcome speech. Gramina Padana Kendram, FSCT organizations and other agencies.
Good evening, everyone.
So I
Today,
invite
as mentioned,
our
the last
director,
day of the
Dr.
international seminar
K.T.
series
Srilatha
titled
Kumari, for welcome
Reimagining
speech.
Decentralization in Kerala, Local Governance for a Sustainable Future. This day's theme is Local Governments in India since the Constitutional Amendments, Reflections and Lessons for Kerala. India's great experiment with the local governance began with the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendments. Since then, a lot of changes, including the opening of the economy, increase in the social mobility, and rapid advancement in technology. While they have strengthened grassroots democracy, their effectiveness varies considerably by state. In Kerala, LSD institutions have been meaningfully empowered through transfer of resources as well as the administrative powers, and local self-government institutions emerge as an effective agency for the implementation of development programs. All these things will be discussed in this seminar today. Today, we have Sri Sunil Kumar IAS, former Secretary, Ministry of Panchayat Raj, Government of India, to present the background note. A warm welcome you, sir, on behalf of the organizing committee. Sri Sunil Kumar IAS, former Secretary, Ministry of Panchayat Raj, Government of India,
start?
to present the background note. I would like to welcome on behalf of the Srimati Sharada Muralidharan Ma'am, IAS, former Chief Secretary, to the seminar. Today we have four eminent speakers as panelists. Sri T. Gangadharan, SRG member, Kerala State Planning Board. Dr. Jose Chattukulam, CRM Director. Sri Shiva Bhatkar, Program Director, CSDL. And Sri Manish Acharya, Director, Sedu Abhiyan. Srimati Kiran Jyoti, Gender and Child Rights Head, CSDL. A warm welcome you all to the seminar on behalf of the organizing committee. And also, I extend my warm welcome to all the participants who have joined here for the seminar. A warm welcome you all. Then, thank you. Then I would now I invite and also Sharada Ma'am, former Chief Secretary, to moderate the session seminar.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Srilatha, and welcome to all the participants of this ongoing session. So today's discussion, we are talking on the impact of the 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments across the country and what those lessons have for Kerala. As most of you know, the 73rd and 74th amendments actually were, as far as the state of Kerala was concerned, had the impact of a force 5 hurricane or an earthquake, because it changed forever the landscape of how development administration happened in Kerala. But so Kerala has prided itself on being ahead of the curve as far as local governance is concerned. However, this the paradigm that we have developed has also brought with it certain issues and certain concerns, certain problems. The one problem could be very clearly stated to be the absolute lack of interest of local governments to raise money, resources, because of the fact that we are being given resources on a platter. And this obviously has had implications on the way we do development and on how much we own development. And so we might think that we have no lessons to learn from other places, but I'm certain that there are. And it would be good to know what those lessons are and how this goes forward, particularly now since we are also a highly urbanizing state. And it is not just the 73rd, but the 74th amendments, its implications. You are aware of the fact that there is a court case and a directive to set up a metropolitan committee in the state in Kochi, and this has been again something which is coming up in a big way in the context of rapid heavy urbanization in the state. So what are those, what are the implications as far as local governance is concerned? How are other states dealing with this? Nationally, what is the perspective? And we have with us today, to present the background note, a person who has been at the helm of affairs when the 14th, 15th Finance Commission awards came, and these actually centered local governance also in the heart of the the revenues accruing to the states. So, and that has been a game changer. And how has that been a game changer? And what are the portents of it? What what are the lessons that Kerala should draw from the experience of local governance in the country and across the states? Over to you, sir, Mr. Sunil Kumar, who is former secretary of the Ministry of Panchayati Raj.
Uh, Thank you, Ms. Sarda Muralidharan. And let me express my gratitude to the organizers and also welcome all the participants, the speakers, as well as the participants in this international seminar. Here in today, what I would be setting out would be taking a look at what more needs to be done across states. And of course, there would be certain lessons which would be valid for Kerala too. As has been mentioned, and all of us know, the 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment Acts were historic as they granted constitutional status to local government, which was previously missing, as the third tier of government in India. After 32 years of the aforesaid Constitutional Amendment Acts coming into force, it can be safely asserted that they are here to stay. That is the local governments. They are seen as strengthening grassroots democracy and an integral part of the federal structure. We take pride in the fact that we have over 3.2 million elected representatives, democratically elected representatives, which is the highest in the world. So to my mind, local government, because they are seen as strengthening grassroots democracy and the federal structure, they can be viewed as part of the basic structure of the constitution. Since democracy and federalism were the two key components of the basic structure doctrine, which was propagated by the Supreme Court way back in April 1973 in the landmark Keshwanand Bharti case. However, till date, this aspect has not been educated before the Supreme Court or the High Court, and we don't have a judgment on this score. But my understanding is that were this issue to be educated or to be questioned, then I'm sure that based on these two premises, that is democracy and federalism, and as the third tier of government, local government would be recognized as a part of the basic structure. However, all of us know that despite a lot of ground being covered in establishing local governments as the third tier of governance, the outcome varies from state to state. Local governments in rural areas are reasonably strong in some states like Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and West Bengal. But the same cannot be said of their urban local governments, barring a few. And in other states, the position is still sort of poorer. So the devolution of funds and in functions and functionaries continues to be a work in progress in most states, even after 30 years. The functioning of constitutional bodies like the State Election Commission, the State Finance Commission, the District Planning Committee, and the Metropolitan Planning Committee is uneven at best. We have seen how in the last 11, 12 years, ever since Planning Commission was disbanded and we formally sort of bid adieu to the preparation of 5-year plans, the District Planning Committee, their role in several states or in most states has been reduced to virtually zero. Similarly, the role of State Election Commission in conducting elections, despite constitutional provision mandating holding of elections before the expiry of 5-year term, the way elections get delayed in several states, and more so in case of urban local government elections, even in states like Karnataka, Maharashtra, that is a pointer to the uneven nature of their functioning and whether they have functioned as mandated by the constitution remains an open question. So, apart from these, the actual functioning of constitutional institutions like the Gram Sabha, which is the only constitutionally mandated institution where all citizens can take part, where all voters can take part. Their functioning in different states leaves considerable scope for improvement. There is no institution like the Gram Sabha to facilitate citizen participation in urban governance. The size of GPs do not lend to their administrative and financial viability in most states, barring Kerala, West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, and Karnataka to an extent. The delimitation exercise is arbitrary in most states, except Kerala, which has an effective state delimitation commission. Local governments, to my mind, are best placed to provide citizen-centric governance. However, at present, the local governments function more like an implementing agency of union and state governments rather than an autonomous elected body focused on providing citizen-centric governance in most states. The bureaucracy dominates and the elected representatives play a secondary role in almost all states. We must remember that India is rapidly urbanizing, and in states like Kerala, the distinction between rural and urban is fast sort of fading. Even for the country, around 40% of the population is likely to be residing in urban areas by 2030. And once we get the census reports, maybe we may be in for a surprise. Consequently, all governance issues, rural and urban, need to be addressed on priority by local governments. Good governance from the citizens' perspective would entail addressing certain design flaws which are now visible after seeing the local governments function for 32 years now, building accountable institutions, and enhancing effectiveness and efficiency in service delivery. So the challenges are many, and I'm sure other speakers would be highlighting different aspects. and it is not possible to cover all issues in the course of one seminar. I would focus on the reform agenda, which I think is critical if local governments are to play the role which they are supposed to perform and which they ought to perform if India is to, or if the governance structure in India is to become more citizen centric. So I would now move on to the reform agenda, which in my view would involve the following. One, there is urgent need to set up institutions like the Delimitation Commission for local government in every state. Necessary amendment would be required in Article 82 of the Constitution. I believe that if they are a part of the federal structure, the task of delimitation should be exercised by an independent state delimitation commission, which has protection and enjoys the same provisions as there are for the existing delimitation commission, which sort of delimitates the boundaries of assembly and Lok Sabha constituencies. So it should have the same protection. These would need to be set up immediately after the results of the census are released. And this, I believe, is important, that more than undertaking delimitation of assembly and Lok Sabha constituencies, the size of constituencies in local governments matter more to citizens. And if the population in a local government constituency, the size of wards, if that increases beyond a certain limit, then there is a more pressing case for undertaking delimitation than in case of assembly or Lok Sabha constituencies. So I believe that the state delimitation commissions for local governments would need to be set up in every state immediately after the results of the census are released. These should be headed by retired Supreme Court or High Court judges. They should be tasked with traditional functions like revision of the boundaries of existing constituencies of all tiers of local governments, rural and urban, with rotation of seats as per extant reservation policy of the state governments. Here I believe that when it comes to rotation of seats, it should not be done every 5 years, but there should be a minimum it should be done only after every 10 years once the reports of the delimitation commission come in. They should examine the administrative and financial viability of rural and urban local governments, and their recommendations should include transition from rural to urban local government based upon objective criteria. Improvement in road and telecommunication infrastructure has shrunk physical distances and brought people closer. Fixing the average size of Gram Panchayats between 10 to 25,000 in the plains and anything between 1 to 10,000 in hilly and difficult areas could make them administratively and financially viable units. In urban areas, Nagar Panchayats, that is town areas, could have population between 25,000 to 1 lakh, municipalities between 1 to 10 lakh, and municipal corporations above 10 lakh. The maximum population of even a municipal corporation could be capped at say 30 to 50 lakh so that they do not lose their citizen-centric focus. If you have a municipal corporation with a population of 2 crores, 2.5 crores, 3 crores, which is more than even certain existing states, then they really lose their citizen-centric focus. Second, to provide appropriate transfer of functions and functionaries in local governments, insertion of a local government list and concurrent list between state and local governments in the 7th schedule of the Constitution would be effective. The present arrangement of listing them out in 11th and 12th schedule has not really worked. While the power to legislate would remain with the state legislature, rule-making powers may be extended to the local governments. The provision for a consolidated fund of local government should be inserted in the Constitution by amending Article 266. All funds from the union and state government, including those derived from the devolution of funds based on recommendation of the Union and State Finance Commissions, would directly flow into this fund. States would also need to transfer an appropriate share of the state budget to local governments, as is the case in the state of Kerala. Since all local governments, urban and rural, have a unique LGD code, there should not be any difficulty in maintaining proper accounts for every local government by the Reserve Bank of India. Four, the time is right for evolving political consensus around the proposal to provide 1/6 share in both central GST and state GST to local governments. This would remove the uncertainty in flow of funds to local governments and enable them to plan and execute their schemes in a better way. And to just give you an idea, this would entail flow of about rupees 2 lakh crore per annum to both rural and urban local governments, which we believe should be sufficient to meet their requirements. Five, local governments need to explore different innovative bond and land-based financing mechanisms to augment their resources with proper state guarantees. And once you have so much of resources flowing, as as Madam Shata Muralidharan was mentioning, the states, the local governments would need to raise their own resources, and for even in centrally sponsored schemes or state schemes, they would need to bear a part of the financial burden of operating those schemes. That, to my mind, the day local governments begin to bear a part of the centrally sponsored or state schemes, that would be the day when they would have really been strengthened and they would really begin to own the schemes which are being undertaken in their respective areas. Sixth, with increased flow of funds, steps should be taken to enhance and strengthen accountability mechanisms. Improved and timely audit of funds of local government by auditors of local fund audit department. Quality control ensured by the Accountant General of the state should be made mandatory. There is a case for setting up an institution like the Public Accounts Committee at the district level within district panchayats to undertake in-depth examination of serious objections reported by the audit. This would go a long way in ensuring accountability of local government and departmental officials to the elected representatives. Seven, the budget manual, accounts manual, and audit manual for all tiers of local government must be prepared in all states and notified with the approval of the state accountant general. This would streamline financial administration in the local governments. 8. It would be appropriate if the rural and urban distinction is removed and block panchayats and district panchayats have elected members representing the urban and rural areas in the block and district respectively. This step would infuse new life into these currently moribund institutions. It would also be in line with the recommendations made by the Second Administrative Reforms Commission. 9. Assigning civic functions of local governments to parastatal organizations has weakened local governments and must be immediately curbed. Control over parastatal bodies may be ceded by the state government to appropriate local government, say district panchayat, to begin with. Then the office and post of district collector would need to be brought within the ambit and control of the district panchayat. The institution of district collector, which is a colonial legacy, in its present form ends up weakening local governments. The power of bureaucracy over elected local government representatives, that is the power to suspend or dismiss them, must be curbed and suitable oversight mechanisms put in place to curb excesses or malpractices of elected representatives of local governments. We have recommendations of Second Administrative Reforms Commission in this regard. 11. All states must proceed forthwith to set up a dedicated cadre of local government. Kerala has this cadre, so other states could follow suit. The selection would be by the State Public Service Commission and the governor would remain their appointing authority. Gazetted officers would need to be appointed as executive officers in all local governments, that is including the panchayats. Officers of the local government cadre would be able to work in both urban and rural local governments and also go on deputation to the state and union governments. Likewise, All India Service and State Service officers would also be able to go on deputation to local governments. But while on deputation, they should be working under the administrative control of local government. 12. A manual containing rules and procedures for conducting meetings of the Ward Sabha, of the Gram Sabha, block and district council, municipal council meetings, area sabha, oblique mohalla sabha meetings must be prepared. Elected members, officials, and citizens need to be suitably trained so that these institutions can be effectively used to raise issues of concern by citizens. Organizing town hall type meetings open to all citizens for participation in public policy making in local governments must also be encouraged. 13. It must be recognized that representing the people in rural and urban local government is a full-time and not part-time activity. Accordingly, the honorarium oblique salary payable to elected representatives must be an adequate index of their time and effort. They need to be supported in monetary terms as well as through physical infrastructure and quality manpower. 14. Use of digital technology would be a must to facilitate efficient delivery of services to citizens. The apps and portals must be designed for easy use by citizens and not just the administrators. Local governments should have ownership rights over data generated from their area, and they should receive a decent portion of the proceeds of data monetization by the state and union government, as is likely to happen in foreseeable future. Recently, government of Maharashtra has been reported to be sort of in the process of formulating a data monetization policy. 15. In order to address the challenges ahead, it is important to get out of the mindset wherein everything is seen through the rural-urban prism. One important step in this direction would be the setting up of a Ministry of Local Government in the Union and Department of Local Government in the states, which subsumes not only Panchayati Raj and Urban Development Ministries and departments, but also the Rural Development Ministry and Department. I believe that these would require some amendments in the Constitution and many more in the State Panchayati Raj and Municipal Acts and Rules. The existing State Panchayati Raj and Municipal Acts and Rules have tremendous scope for improvement. The demand for these reforms must emanate from the local government elected representatives and the MLAs and MPs must support and articulate them at appropriate forums. Any amendment to the constitution would require approval by both the parliament as well as the state legislatures. Likewise, changes in state Panchayati Raj and municipal acts and rules would also require legislative backing. So, MLAs and MPs need to support the demand which for these reforms which should emanate from the local government elected representatives. I believe that among the states, Kerala is best placed to take the lead in bringing about structural reforms and transforming local governments as the first tier of government rather than the third tier, as is the case now. So, with this, I will close my submission, and I believe that local government need to be viewed as the first tier of government and not third tier for providing citizen-centric governance. The time for the next generation of economic and administrative reforms is now, and local governments, along with the states, will need to demand and lead this effort. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We've had some very perhaps even provocative suggestions that have been made, some of which some of what has been discussed is already operational in the state of Kerala, but then there are quite a few ideas that are new with regard to, a statutory delimitation commission, which has the backing of the constitution. Also, the discussion that maybe we could look at making away with the distinction between rural and urban and have elected representatives who would be who would actually be representing areas that are pan both of these. There is also the and a concern that Kerala has been constantly also been discussing about the parastatal threat that comes in. Kerala had seemed to have dealt with it, but it's coming back. Bringing the district collector, the institution of the district collector under the control of the district panchayat, and looking at curbing malpractices by elected representatives, deputation between state center and the local governance space, and looking at the ownership rights for data monetization as a matter of the future. I mean, there are several ideas here that are worth deliberating. Thank you, sir, for that presentation. We will now request the member SRG of the Kerala State Planning Board, T. Gangadharan, to come in with his remarks. For the discussants, the time proposed is 10 minutes each. Thank you. So, TG. T. Gangadharan.
Madam, TG not available.
Okay. Right. In that case, we will move on to Dr. Jose Chathukulam, who is the Director CRM. And please remember, 10 minutes is your time.
Madam, TG not available.
Okay. Right. In that case, we will move on to Dr. Jose Chathukulam, who is the Director CRM. And please remember, 10 minutes is your time.
Madam, TG not available.
Okay. Right. In that case, we will move on to Dr. Jose Chathukulam, who is the Director CRM. And please remember, 10 minutes is your time.
Madam, TG not available.
Okay. Right. In that case, we will move on to Dr. Jose Chathukulam, who is the Director CRM. And please remember, 10 minutes is your time. Please begin, Dr. Jose.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, my slides are also visible?
Yes, they are.
Oh, fine, thank you. See, first of all, I would like to appreciate, and I am the one who agree all the major points
they are.
raised by the theme paper, the background paper. It's an excellent presentation. As far as I am concerned, I just concentrate a few issues and try to limit my presentation within 10 minutes. Yeah. You see, the philosophical background and the theoretical foundation of the Kerala Panchayat is this actually. What happened actually in the Kerala situation? We believe that this is actually the basic foundation and theoretical understanding as far as the Kerala Panchayat is concerned. See, power is not to be envisaged as a hierarchical or pyramidal structure, but as one which moves a concentric circle with each tier of government having its defined territorial jurisdiction. This is what the basic philosophical and theoretical foundation of the Kerala Panchayat. And I do believe that all the founding champions of the decentralization in Kerala all believe in the same kind of understanding, and there is no conflict as far as this is concerned. Yeah, we all know that there are different the structures of tier and relationship. I would like to say that mainly two. Number one is that there hierarchical three-tier structure, Panchayat structure, and other is non-hierarchical three-tier structure. Kerala has followed the non-hierarchical three-tier structure of Panchayat, whereas majority of the states in India have followed the hierarchical structure. You see, this is actually the system of hierarchical structure. Hierarchical three-tier Panchayat system works in such a fashion. This is actually, we can see that there, apart from Kerala, all other states mainly following of this kind of a hierarchical structure.
Dr. Jose, the slides are not moving. You will need to move the slides.
It is not moving. Apart from
No.
Kerala, all other states. This is okay. You are seeing the.
Yeah, I believe that the slide that you are on is now the fourth slide, but we are still in slide number 1.
Yeah, this is fourth slide is okay. It is not moving.
I mean, the slides are not moving. You're still on slide number 1.
Okay.
So you will have to move the slides, please. The slide that you are on is now the fourth slide, but we are still in slide number 1.
Yeah, this is fourth slide is okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
the slides.
This
are
is
not
actually
moving.
four.
You're
You are
still on
seeing the
slide
four
number 1.
hierarchical structure.
You will have to move the slides, please. No. We are still on slide number 1.
Okay. Give me some time. I will just correct it. You are seeing the hierarchical structure.
You will have to move the slides, please. No.
Sir, we will share the slide from here.
Ah, okay, fine. That will be nice.
Okay, you close the.
Yeah. I will close it there. Fine. Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, we will share
Yeah.
the.
Give me the
slide
first
from
slide.
here.
Yeah, first is fine. That will be already over. Yeah.
Okay, you close the.
Yeah. I will close it there. Fine. Thank you. Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah,
we
you
will
can give the
share
first. Okay, what I mentioned that this is actually the philosophical foundation as far as the two structure issues. In the two structure, Kerala has followed the non-hierarchical three-tier structure and of Panchayat, whereas majority of the Indian states have followed the hierarchical structure. Okay, next one, please. Okay, this is actually what happened. You take the case of Maharashtra. Typically what happened, Maharashtra, the Grama Panchayats are fully under the control of the intermediary Panchayat, and the Grama Panchayat and intermediary Panchayat are under the control of the district Panchayat. Typical case, you can see the Maharashtra situation there. Okay, next slide. You see, this is very interesting point as far as Kerala is concerned. This is what I mean that their non-hierarchical structure. A non-hierarchical structure of three-tier, this is the Kerala typical case. You see that there, the Grama Panchayat, a kind of autonomous space, and intermediary Panchayat, what is the PS or block Panchayat or Taluk Panchayat, Mandal Panchayat or whatever may be there, it has an independent space, and the Jilla Panchayat. So my point is that there in Kerala, the Panchayat are not arranged in a hierarchical manner. This is actually non-hierarchical structure. This is the beauty of as far as the Kerala Panchayat is concerned. Next one. You see, come to the devolution index issue. It is actually the devolution index 2024. prepared by the Indian Institute of Public Administration, and it is published by the Indian Institute of Public Administration and the Ministry of Panchayat Raj. So my point is that there you see, when you can see that there the National Devolution Index, that score is 50, whereas you see that there the variation of framework, it is around 61, whereas the functions as far as 34. The point is that there the difference is between more than 30 points. You see that there. So my point is that there the devolution in India, you can see that there is some kind of imbalance among the indicators. So my point is that there I would like to submit that there if you are that imbalance is more than 10 point, it is a kind of difficult situations are there to run the really the local self-government. Here you see that there as far as functions are concerned, this is 34, whereas the framework is concerned, we have 61, and the national average index is there 50. So the point is that there the difference is more than 30 points. Next one. See, come to Kerala. The point is that there Kerala, the framework is 84, whereas the functions is concerned, this is 54. This is not the data. I have taken this data from the recent the index prepared by the public administration, Indian Institute of Public Administration and the Ministry of Panchayat Raj. I just computed this figure in a different fashion. You see here also what happened in Kerala, the difference is more than 30 points. Whereas this is what there. You take the balance sheet of 30 years of devolution in India, you see what happened. PRIs, Panchayat Raj institutions exist, have a very lean structure, whereas the line department, what happened, it is actually highly extensive. The point is that there, why it is so lean as far as the Panchayat Raj institutions are concerned, by because functions domain of Panchayat is very narrow. After the 30 years of the decentralization in India, what happened? You take the line department as for a district, under district, the line departments are concerned, it is highly extensive in the sense that thereby because functional domains of the line department is very, very high. That is why this part, line department part is highly extensive in that sense. Okay, next one. Next slide. You see, again, I would like to say that there you take the balance sheet of 30 years of devolution in India. What you mean by district administration? I have a lot of discussion. I collected the information from different set of people all over the country. They all feel that when they say district administration means the administration headed by the district collector or the development commissioner, of course, and their staff, related staff, and superintendent of police and revenue department. As far as the Maharashtra is concerned, and other states, even Karnataka is concerned, they have a guardian minister kind of a culture. It is known as in Maharashtra, it is Palak Minister, Palak Mambri. This is what nothing but, this is actually the district administration. See, take the case of Kerala also. The point is that there in de jure, we don't have the guardian minister, and there we don't have a Palak Mambri. But you ask me the question that there in Kerala we have 14 districts. I would like to say that there here also we have guardian ministers, and they are not the de jure, but de facto this kind of system is there. In Kerala also what happened when you say district administration, the district administration in Kerala is also headed by the district collector and the police force headed by the superintendent of police in the revenue department and related staff. And this is what the meaning of district administration, even as far as Kerala is concerned. But what happened? The district panchayat is nowhere under the district administration. This is what hereafter the balance sheet of 30 years of devolution in India. I would like to say that there, 1 second only I will take that there. You see, Kerala is concerned, I feel that there, our panchayat are very strong, relatively strong. But the point is that there, the Panchayat Raj is not that strong as far as Kerala is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jose Chathukulam. He has been speaking about devolution primarily, and also the hierarchy of power structures of the local governance and the relation between the local governance systems in the district and the district administration, and the fault lines therein. Thank you. We will move on to our next presentation, which will be by Shiva Pradhakar, who is the Program Director of CSDL in New Delhi. Over to you, Shiva. 10 minutes, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Okay, so good evening and my sincere gratitude to all the eminent speakers in this session, and my compliments to all the audience who are there on the other side. So I'll just take, I'll move quickly as with the views of Mr. Sunil Kumar and then Dr. Jose Chathukulam. I'll just add on few pointers. Can I get the screen share, please? Yeah. Yeah. So just some time. I will not spend time more on this constitutional details. I'll just go through a little bit very fast about what is the 73rd Constitutional Amendment, which was effective from 93 April 24. We are going to cover around 32 years next year. It has some functions. I'll just point out some of the basic pointers of 73rd Constitutional Amendment and how rural local governance has emerged after that. So it mandated regular elections every 5 years, reservations for SCs, STs, women at least 33% seats. But after 31 years, PRIs in India encompass over 260,000 local bodies with approximately 3.1 million elected representatives, including 1.4 million women, serving as a cornerstone of local self-governance. However, the extent of devolution of powers related to functions and functionaries varies significantly across states, as highlighted in recent assessments. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Key achievements. Women's reservation has led to over 46% female representation in PRIs nationally, with 22 states implementing more than 50% reservation. This is as per the MOPR database. Elections have been conducted regularly with states like Karnataka, Odisha, Kerala holding 6 cycles by 2021. The scale of PRIs has expanded to cover nearly 6.5 lakh villages, enabling localized planning through Gram Panchayat development plans and involvement in over 20 centrally sponsored schemes. Financially, the 14th Finance Commission boosted PRI grants threefold, allocating 2.02 lakh crore nationally, and the 15th Finance Commission further enhanced this to 4.36 lakh crore, including performance-based incentives. Digitization efforts like the e-Gram Swaraj portal have streamlined accounting and transparency, accountability and transparency, with over 2.5 lakh Gram Panchayats integrated by 2023. Next slide, please. So the 73rd Constitutional Amendment is a transformative framework. The key provisions included constitutional status to PRIs under Article 243, mandatory establishment of 3-tier panchayats. These are the transformative frameworks designed in the 73rd Constitutional Amendment. Reservation of seats for women, SCs and STs, devolution of 29 subjects under the 11th schedule, and regular elections every 5 years. The impact seen as anticipated, strengthened grassroots democracy by empowering local bodies, increased participation of marginalized groups, particularly women, shift from top-down to participatory governance, and the challenges again faced was limited devolution of funds, functions and functionaries in many states, resistance from state bureaucracies and traditional power structures, capacity gaps among elected representatives, especially in rural areas. This is a national picture actually. Before we come to the Kerala scenario, I'll just go through just 2 more minutes about the national scenario. Next slide, please. The transformative framework vis-a-vis the SDGs India adopted the LNOB, that is Leaving No One Behind, pledge in 2015 in line with the 2030 agenda of SDGs. The agenda explicitly states we pledge that no one will be left behind and commits to reaching the furthest behind fast. This is a commitment to eradicate poverty in all its forms and discrimination and exclusion and reduce inequalities and vulnerabilities that prevent individuals and communities from realizing their full potential. The framework demands a focus on intersecting forms of disadvantage. This is very crucial, including those based on gender, race, disability, migration status, and socioeconomic background. So the key challenges are extreme inequality within the country between geographies and resource sharing. The second is climate change and environmental degradation, disproportionately affecting vulnerable populations, technological advances that can deepen exclusion if not equitably managed, globalization that often benefits the wealthy while marginalizing the poor, and the weak governance and unequal power structures that concentrate decision making and health at the top. So now we can go to the strengthening local governance. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Strengthening local governance system.
Please go on.
Am I audible?
Okay.
Next slide, please. After that. Yeah, this one. Please highlight. Yeah. So the strengthening local governance system, as we have discussed from this transformative framework with SDGs, during 1996, Sen Committee, Dr. Satyabrat Sen, presented recommendations on strengthening local governance system in Kerala. So this Sen Committee postulated the devolution of the 3Fs, which became an essential part of the vocabulary of decentralized governance in the whole country. So this DLG, decentralized local governance, has 8 key strategies. We call it 8 key pillars of the local governance structure. The first is autonomy for the panchayats, autonomy for the local governance structures, subsidiarity, doing what is best at that level, role clarity at each layer of the governance system, complementarity, it should complement each other, not dominant, uniformity, selection of beneficiaries and all other resources, then people's participation, very crucial, accountability by the panchayat bodies to the citizens, and transparency. These 8 pillars are considered as the very key structures for the strengthening of local governance system. So this was also mentioned as part of devolution of 3Fs. Next slide, please. So when Devolution Index 2024 emerged, as Dr. Chatukulam was saying, it has 60 indicators. Actually, across 6 dimensions, using 60 indicators, revealing a national average devolution index score of 43.89 out of 100. Karnataka leads overall with 72.23, followed by Kerala 70.59, Tamil Nadu, then Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh. High performers include 11 states, and low performers below national average encompass 12 states, including Jharkhand, Punjab, and Arunachal. Now you see the 6 dimensions are framework, function, finances, functionaries, capacity enhancement, and accountability. When we talk about framework, Kerala is leading that with 83.56 score. But when functions, Kerala is at the 4th stage, behind Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Odisha. In finances, Kerala is in the 2nd position. In functionaries, Kerala is again in the 3rd position. In capacity enhancement, Kerala is 4th position. And in the accountability, Kerala is behind Karnataka with 81.18 score. So this speaks that in functions, there is some gap. Functions and simultaneously also capacity enhancement, there is some scope for Kerala to look upon, because these 2 areas where Kerala needs to improve. So next slide, please. So there is a graphical representation of the Devolution Index 2024, where all the states, 25 states, including UTs. This has been presented in the devolution index published by MOPR, IIP, and MOPR, where the national average is 43.89. All the other states' average score, national score, is mentioned in this graph. Next slide, please. So, evolution of local governance and the Kerala experience. Now, we start our focus towards Kerala here in the perspective of national views. Kerala is widely acknowledged as a pioneer in deepening democratic decentralization.
Yeah, we would
Now,
need to
Kerala-
wrap up soon, Shiva. So
2 minutes.
please do come
In
to
2
the
minutes.
points. Yeah.
2
1
minutes.
minute. 1
So,
minute.
yeah, 1 minute. Okay. So Kerala has consistently ranked among the top states in the devolution index. So now we can go to the next slide, please. I'll just skip 2 slides because it's already discussed. Next slide, please. Next. Next. Yeah. So this is the last one slide. So a major issue is the lack of functional autonomy as the state government returns over overriding powers, as Mr. Sunil was also mentioning, over local self-government institutions, which limits their ability to effectively execute their mandated functions. There are so many challenges which is visible now. Despite the success of OSR compared to other states, Kerala's local bodies remain significantly dependent on state and central grants, with OSR forming a small portion of their overall receipts. Panchayats sometimes fail to fully utilize their revenue generating powers due to obsolete tax system and weak administrative capabilities. GST is also one aspect which Mr. Sunil Kumar was mentioning. Despite the devolution of approximately 1/4 of the state's plan funds based on a formulaic and equitable approach, challenges in role clarity and dual control over functionaries persist, weakening the effectiveness of the three-tier system. The governance framework still struggles with top-down service delivery models that do not fully answer to local needs. And the People's Plan campaign, which empowered local communities to decide on fund allocation, the transition to a fully autonomous and self-sustaining system requires continued reform to address structural weaknesses and enhance functional freedom. So next, please. Lessons for Kerala. Next slide. Lessons for Kerala and beyond. Strengthen capacity building. Enhance fiscal autonomy, financial dependency on grants should be reduced. Leverage technology, use digital platforms for transparent budgeting. Promote inter-PRI collaboration, which is a very crucial, as Dr. Sathukula was saying, the non-hierarchical structure in Kerala. So this is also quite convenient in Kerala, promoting inter-PRI collaboration and focus on intersectionality, where overlapping vulnerabilities, that is elderly, women, children from marginalized communities, in program design. So last slide, next slide, please. Next. Next slide.
We need to conclude now.
That means so 30 years after 73rd Amendment, India's experiment with decentralized governance has expanded. Now, Kerala's model demonstrates that effective devolution coupled with participatory planning and social inclusion can transform PRIs into people-centered welfare institutions. And future steps include amending state acts for direct central funding, enhancing DPCs, and digital upskilling. So with this, I would like to conclude.
Yeah.
By,
thank you.
And thank you very much. Next slide. Last slide. Yeah, thank you.
Thank
This is
you.
the Kerala events. Thank you very much for your present listening. Thank you again.
Thank you, Shiva Pratap. So Shiva has actually, in a sense, thrown the cat among the pigeons by pointing out which are the areas where Kerala seems to have gone behind as far as the devolution index is concerned. He's calling us out on functions and also on the control of the state over programs being taken on by the local governments. So it is interesting observations. I'm sure there will be a lot of response to that, but we will move on. And the next person who will be speaking to us is Manish Acharya, who is the director of the Setu Abhiyan.
Madam, Manish Acharya is traveling, so not available.
Is not available. In that case, we are moving directly to our lady discussant, Kiran Jyoti, who is the see, the head of the Gender and Child Rights in CSDL, New Delhi. Over to you, Kiran.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good evening to you. My heartfelt gratitude to the organizers for this comprehensive, elaborate seminar. So I've been joining discussions in last few days, yesterday, day before, women gender responsive governance. So I think it's been very enriching, very empowering, very enlightening for me, and I'm sure for everybody. Uh, and it's an honor, ma'am. Special regards to uh, former Secretary Minister of Panchayati Raj, Shri Sunil Kumar, and ma'am to you. So it's an honor speaking on on a platform where you are there, you're moderating. So there's a lot to learn from each other. So thank you, and a very good evening to everybody again. So one aspect which I want to discuss is uh, women, women in governance. Shiva has spoken a bit about the statistics. 73rd Amendment brought in at least one-third representation of women in local bodies. And then 2010 onwards, it's been raised to 50%. And as per Ministry of Panchayati Raj statistics, at present, 22 states who have increased their women's representation at least to 50%. I think there are more, but the records say 22 states. So this is where we are with regard to numbers. So 1.4 million women in institutions which have constitutional status. So it is in the terms of numbers. So when we come to the quality of participation, the degree varies from state to state. And ma'am, you had mentioned about lessons for Kerala to learn from others. Don't know to learn from others, but yeah, there is a lot others have to learn from Kerala as far as empowering women in governance is concerned. And then I think lessons of Kerala is moving on to next level. So I will be speaking on those points. So one, where we have reached now nationally, the degree of women's quality participation in governance will vary from state to state. Uh, 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 I was searching on internet, so came across a PIB of recent PIB of Ministry of Women and Child Development, and I know Ministry of Panchayati Raj, they have started this initiative of developing in one district each women-friendly Gram Panchayat. I think 32 years of 73rd Amendment, and still we are talking of developing at least one Gram Panchayat as women-friendly Gram Panchayat in each district. So I think there's a long way to go when it comes to empowering women in governance. And again, when we talk of women-friendly villages, women-friendly PRIs, women-friendly Gram Panchayats, there are some best practices documented with the ministry, with the various states, with the various agencies. But I am yet to come across any best practices which talk of women-friendly panchayat in holisticity. So wherever the documentations are there, the documentations are maybe like two aspects, three aspects. It could be some area of health as well as education plus livelihoods plus protection. But but uh, uh, but best practice where the women friendly governance has been integrated in organic way, in holisticity. I think we have long way to go. And the other aspect of it is, yeah, Kerala is ahead of way ahead of many other states, and and Kerala, I think, has probably to extend support to other states. There's a wide gap of, where we are talking of still say the undocumented, unnotified, institutionalized systems of Pradhan Patis, for example, in states of Uttar Pradesh or some other states. And in Kerala, we have a model, the support structure of Kudumshri, which has provided a very strong platform for women to evolve as effective local leaders. So my experience of interacting with some states, they look forward to Kerala in strengthening their women-friendly governance. Kerala has been providing support. Kerala has been sharing the experiences, but I think that needs to be scaled. Besides women, I remember states like Jammu and Kashmir, states like Himachal Pradesh, they have been wanting to reach out to Kerala in strengthening their ISO certification. So of course, that would benefit women as well. So one, I think Kerala needs to probably, evolve probably the strategies, the models, and document best practices such a way that they can be the processes that they can be replicated, adapted in other states as far as women empowerment in local governance is concerned. And the one more aspect which I want to highlight is we have come a long way. We have good success stories across the country. We have the role models like Arya Rajendran, like Reshma Mariam Joy, Reshma Mariam Roy, the youngest president, youngest mayor, and at the same time, what I feel and there are like many more women across the country who have taken on very effective leadership roles in Panchayati Raj, but while I could not find documentation of women who have evolved from local governance to subnational and national politics. I was looking into statistics of Kerala. There are 12 women in state legislative assembly, and from Kerala there are 2 women, one in Lok Sabha and one in Rajya Sabha. So I think this needs to be thought of how women from grassroots, the evolution of women from grassroots, taking the learnings of experiences of grassroots governance to contribute to the subnational and national politics. So how that happens, I think this is one area that we probably Kerala has to look into. So that way, Kerala doesn't have. I don't think Kerala has the lessons to take from any other states, but probably Kerala has to do the trend setting in this area as well. We see in politics, in subnational politics, national politics, we see women. Of course, the number of women is low. It has increased a bit over last 10-15 years. But again, from last term, it's like reduced a bit in Lok Sabha. But then we see, many women who are there, they probably don't bring the learnings, they don't bring the experiences of development at grassroots level. So how the strengthening through Kudumshri, through governance, and how women at the local level, they can be evolved, they can be the role models to lead political scenario at national and national level as well. So these are some of the areas I wanted to highlight. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiran. So Kiran's presentation has been touching on women and their space in local governance. the fact that we do not, that perhaps there is no model for holistic engagement of women or holistic women-friendly panchayats that we can actually write home about, or which has been properly documented. She has also, in her very polite way, called out the absence of women in the subnational and national political scenario from Kerala. In a sense where when we say that on one hand, Kerala has not anything to learn from other states, but and that the women elected representatives are strong and visible and empowered. The question is a begging as to, in that case, why do we not see them more in either the state or national levels from the state? So there, it is pointing to a oxymoron, in a sense, something which is wrong in the way we are touting empowerment of women. So with that, we actually now come to the end of the presentations, and since two of the presenters speakers have not been able to join us, we are therefore also slightly ahead of schedule as well. But that having been said, so it is up to me to wrap up this session. I understand that we are not taking questions. There can be, and I do not see any questions or observations in the chat box. So that would presume that you have given a lot of substance for people to ponder over and think on, and these shall be going into the way we look at reimagining the entire future of local governance. This also being the last session, we will be having a wrap-up of the entire seminar series that has happened in these last few days. But I would like to, point out that there are some very interesting points here for Kerala to look at. The Kerala model has gone a certain route. It has looked at certain forms of devolution. It has looked at transferring of functions. It has looked at dual control of departments, and it has also thought that big fiscal transfers are critical to local governance space. We have been, it is also, however, a space that has been fairly static in terms of further devolution of functions. After the first flush, there has hardly been any functions, responsibilities, personnel that have been additionally devolved. Some problems that we faced with, to cite specifically, the kind of responsibilities that are being given in the water sector from the Jal Jeevan Mission and other interventions onto the local governments, which is being loaded. Something that was left incomplete during the early days of decentralization and transfer of functionaries was that of professionals, professional engineers from water resources, and that continues. That has completely sunk without a trace. We are not even talking about that, even when we are trying to load local governments with far more responsibilities than they can handle as far as water management is concerned. So this how do you say, stagnation in terms of devolution is something that Kerala perhaps needs to look at in scenario. And it is not as if, I mean, it is quite interesting, the devolution index, and having handled that seat also in the ministry uh, for the couple of years that I was there, I had noticed that, depending upon what you choose to highlight and what are the things that you're asking for, the index changes. It is not actually a reflection of increased performance or enhanced performance or change in our actual change from the state governments in terms of working the policy environment of devolution. So that is interesting, though. But whatever that may be, it certainly continues to be a fact that there's been hardly any change. We have, and there has also been a concern that there has been, and which was brought out in Shiva's presentation too, of perhaps a certain kind of centralization and erosion of the autonomy of the local government by way of the imposition of state policy projects, desires on, and so too central policies and central projects and desires on what the local governments do and how they do it. We have seen this even in the 15th Finance Commission, particularly the way the health grants have gotten going in the state, in not just in the state, across the country. So these are some concerns that we have. So what we
Ma'am, I have one question. Ma'am, I have just one query.
Yes, Shiva.
Because as it is informed, all the panchayats in Kerala, they have ISO certifications for all the panchayats, gram panchayats and block panchayats. So just want to know, because it is being practiced and being attempted in some other states as well. So how do you see the benefits of this ISO certification for this gram panchayats and block panchayats that can enhance the performance of these local bodies, and how it can be replicated? Whether it should be attempted at this stage, or there should be any other suggestions for ISO certification for the local government institutions. Thank you.
Well, I mean, if you look at ISO certification in the state of Kerala, the very fact that you brought in certain standards and expected every local government to be able to achieve those standards, it meant that straight away, infrastructurally, the quality of infrastructure in the local governments improved. The quality of service delivery also improved, and which meant that for the state to go digital as far as service delivery in respect of services given by the local governments, it was a very easy step to take. So I would say yes, particularly since the national priorities also include digital service delivery, and we've heard about Maharashtra, which is monetizing data and ownership of data through the local governments. There is a huge scope for ISO certification to bring in that kind of standard that would make it possible for us to take the additional, that further leap into digitization, and maybe perhaps also into AI going forward. And at any point in time, there are certain things that in the local government framework we need to standardize. And so ISO is a way of bringing about that standardization. Within that, we would also need to leave the space for creative interpretation, expression, response to local context. And very often we lose one for the other. And that would be something that every state has to navigate and figure out on its own. But this big question is, how do we get the states, how do we motivate the states to invest in local governance, not just by way of policy and by way of operations, but by way of philosophy itself?
Yes.
We really have not got there yet. And when we do, there is almost always a what do you say, a reaction. That action almost invariably begets an
Yes.
active reaction that makes it very difficult to move forward. But then,
Right.
large urban local governance structures, the challenges that nationally that we are facing, be it on climate and disasters, be it on other areas, food security, what COVID taught us also shows that whether we like it or not, local governances, structures, strengthening is invariable, is an inevitability for the strengthening of the nation. So I will stop here. Thank you for that comment on the chat box. Since there are no further comments, we will close this session. But I do have one more task that I've been entrusted with, and that is to invite Dr. Joy Ellerman, who is now with the Kerala State Disaster Management Authority and was formerly heading KILA, to wrap up and give us an entire overview of the various seminar deliberations that have happened in the course of this international series. Dr. Joy.
ഓപ്പൺ ചെയ്യണം വോയിസ് ഓപ്പൺ ചെയ്യണം
We can hear you.
Now it is okay. Yeah. First of all, thank you, madam, and Sunil Kumar sir. And I think that's the best part of this conclusion of this first leg of this seminar series with both of you. When madam started it, and sir actually took Panchayat Raj to the next height, and so both of you have come together for this final day. Thank you. And then we have the so-called young team which you had with you, Siva and Kiran. And then, as always, Jose has been there right from the beginning, even before the 73rd and 74th Amendment, throughout the People's Plan campaign and beyond. So it was a good culmination of all these stalwarts coming together for this final session. Thank you all. But now my task is something slightly different, not about today's session as such. It is actually about this whole seminar itself. Reimagining decentralization in Kerala, local governance for a sustainable future. It was actually a huge task which the organizers took up with Dr. A. Suhut Kumar Library and Research Center and the Gramina Padana Kendra, which is an offshoot of the People's Plan campaign, coming together with so many other organizations to have this seminar on. Especially as I understand, nowadays, these kinds of discourses do not happen on this particular theme in an open space, except for the government-led programs. That way, we are actually coming back to the old days, I would say. We have had 10 sessions, one on participatory planning and budgeting, social justice, a rights-based approach in local governance, gender inclusive governance towards equitable local development, localizing sustainable development goals, gender inclusive local economic development challenges of Kerala, climate and disaster resilience, advancing fiscal decentralization, digital governance for better services, center, state, local government framework, and today we had local governments in India since the constitutional amendments, reflections and lessons for Kerala.
it's not at over. It's only the first phase of this seminar series, which we have just concluded. We plan to have a physical or an offline or a face-to-face event. Now that we have the local government elections, we would like to have it after the local government elections are over, and then the new elected representatives or the committees take over, and then we will continue with this seminar. During that face-to-face event, all these thematic themes will be taken up based on the presentations here and the background paper submitted. We will again discuss it threadbare towards during that time, and then as all those who have been following us these days, it was actually a great source of resources on local governance and decentralization. All these days, all these 10 days, I mean, the knowledge wise, new ideas wise, innovations wise, so many things have come, so many versions of how one should look at decentralization, local governance have come. And once the face-to-face event is over, we are planning to consolidate it, compile all these presentations, all these discussions, and then publish it as one may call it proceedings of the seminar, or a book as itself, edited volume of these seminars. So that is one which we promise to you. We will have the documents so that it is there forever for future generations to see and understand and move forward. So I would like to conclude here. Thank you all for being with us. In fact, we had, on an average, if I take around 125 participants every day, this 10 days, and we see that around 65 to 70 people have been there throughout all these 10 days. So that's a kind of participation which we had, and that too from across the globe, I would say. So that's also again a good indicator of there are people who look forward to local governance and decentralization. So from my side, looking forward to the face-to-face event. For the time being, thank you and good night.
Good night, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, good night, Shiva.
Good night, Dr. Josh. Thank you very much.
Night.
I'll be in touch with you.
Oh,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Sir. Students, sir, thank you very much.
And I also personally have a lot of thanks to the organizers.
Yes.
Who have been there, running this for 10 days. I mean, those would agree with me.
Crucial.
It's not an easy task.
Yes.
Yeah. And dealing with so many speakers, it's a
Herculean
great job
task.
done. And sir, for your knowledge, this center was launched by a Gram Panchayat during the People's Plan campaign first phase. So that is again, I mean, the height of all these things. Madam has been there right from the beginning, so she knows.
Not just that, I was a member secretary of the DPC that sanctioned this project.
Yes.
Great. Yes, that's interesting. That's great. Yeah. So thank you again, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All of you.
Thank you, Joy. And thank you, Ratan. Thank you again. Thank you and bye. Yeah, thank you.